It's an interesting event. I hope that you learn as much as I'm learning as well. So I'm here today to talk about and to reveal one of the secrets to attract and retain your top talent. I'm not going to say the secret, as I have it here in my own slide, because I imagine that you have a big challenges ahead and you need multiple ways to tackle them. You need multiple secrets. So I'm going to focus on benefits today. We all know that benefits are important, and more important day by day, year by year, we see more innovative benefits coming and appearing in our companies, especially the young companies, the early adopters. And there are multiple studies that says that transportation benefits are one of the most wanted by employees. And if we think about that, it makes a lot of sense, because what we do in our lives as essential, we need to move from A to B at any point of our day, or at least of our week. This is the way that we are going to actually influence even our lifestyle. The way that you move in your city, the way that you choose to move in your city could really impact the way that you feel. It could really impact your mood, your wallet. It could really impact all your life. So my objective for the next 30 minutes is to give you enough information so you can really choose wisely when you're thinking about transportation as a benefit for your employees, so you can make them happier, not only with their lives, but also with you as employers. I'm the head of employee benefit sales here at FreeNow. This slide really represents why I love working at FreeNow. This is our mission. This exactly is what we do every day, the deep focus that we have every day. We want to empower smarter mobility decisions to help people to move freely and make cities to thrive. Especially this last one, regarding cities. This is our biggest objective. We want to make cities more livable, more sustainable, with cleaner air as well, less traffic, especially if it's from polluting cars and not electric cars. So we need really to work on the cities that we are in. That's why us, as a shared mobility platform, are in more than 150 cities, and we are at the moment the biggest mobility platform in Europe. Today I'm going to present you the results of a corporate mobility survey that we just launched some weeks ago, together with Fleet Europe. And I'm going to show you what was this survey all about. First of all, it was completed by 162 people from different departments, from fleet to procurement, mobility, and of course, human resources, as we're talking about benefits. The survey participants, so these 162 people, represented over 2 million employees in Europe and over 600,000 company car drivers. So this would be interesting to see all this trend that's happening nowadays in Europe. When it comes to the geography, most of the answers came from the Western Europe, Benelux as the main area, and also if you join France and United Kingdom, it makes the majority of the responses of this survey. We wanted to learn a couple of things with this survey when we decided to launch it. First of all, we wanted to learn how the traditional transportation benefits are today, and the way that they are changing, especially if we take into account the new generations that we have in our workforce, the Generation Z especially. So we wanted to understand exactly how it impacts their life. They have different expectations. They have different behaviors as well. They expect different things from their employers, from benefits. They are tech savvy. So probably a new benefit will impact the life of these new generations very differently than the older generations. Also regarding when it comes to the way that the company transportation benefits are set today, especially if we think about company cars. So we know that the way that we work changed a lot, especially after COVID. So what happened to the company cars since then? Do we really need them? Do we really need them if we don't go to the office anymore or not so often, to meetings, if we stay a lot at home? Do we really need them if we are trying to be more sustainable, not only as a person, but also as a group of people in a company? So let's try to understand with this study what happens to the company cars. And also when it comes to the future, what will be the future of the transportation as a benefit? So let's kick off the main takeaway that we took out from this survey, exactly regarding company cars. They are set to see a big decline from 90% to 37% in the next 3 years. This is really amazing. We talk with a lot of companies. We have more than 30,000 companies working with us with our B2B products. So we have a lot of knowledge of the trends that they are trying to apply in their companies. We know that company cars are declining, they're phasing out the investments, but we did not know that it would be this steep reduction. It's really interesting to think about the way that COVID really accelerated this trend, and the way that the new generations are also accelerating this trend, especially, once again, the Generation Z. They don't drive as much. They are less likely to have a driver license, for example. They are less likely to even own a car. So we can see that, and we connect the dots, that the new generations, the new workforce, and also the new work life that we are having is, of course, impacting a lot this number here. At the same time, alternative transportation is becoming really popular. We can see as an example the scooter, car sharing, carpooling. Once again, the new generation, they are digital natives. They are the early adopters of these new forms of moving in the city. That's why we can see this trend of growing. And of course, when it comes to sustainability, it makes a lot of sense as well. People leave their car at home way more than in the past, because you have a lot of options. You can see here in Berlin, for example, you have a lot of options to move freely without needing your own car. And you will, of course, even have more commodity. You will be more comfortable if you share options instead of owning your own vehicles. So this is the trend for the alternative transportation to continue to grow. If the company cars are declining so much, and we are seeing that companies are moving away from investing, also because it's very expensive and we are in times of uncertainty, we don't want to have fixed costs that are so big and maybe not so efficient. What will take the place of a company car? So we understood also from this study that a mobility budget, a new concept of transportation as a benefit, is increasing way more. Today is already implemented in some companies. It will be more and more implemented. So we can say with this trend that the mobility budget in 3 years will be the new form and the more popular form of benefit of a transportation as a benefit inside companies in this Europe region that we analyzed. So my question for you, do you know what is a mobility budget, the concept of it? Have you heard about it before? Can I see some maybe raising hands, if yes? Okay, very few people, yeah. It's normal, don't worry. It's a very recent concept. It's been applied in multiple companies, especially big companies, enterprise companies that already have some kind of mobility allowance. They're trying to consolidate everything in one. Now, I will explain you very quickly what it is. So a mobility budget is a monthly allowance that you can provide to your employee to support their private travel as well as their commute. Commuting part is very important, especially because we're finding a lot of companies trying to attract, again, people to the offices. So they're using a mobility budget to incentivize people to go back to the office. Basically, it's not just a public transportation allowance. It's not just a bike leasing program or a car leasing program. It's an all-in-one solution that you can have in the easiest way possible in the same platform for your employee and in the same platform for you as well, for you to be able to manage it in the very easy way. And of course, it provides more flexibility when you compare it to the traditional benefits that you have in your company that can mainly be one or two types of transportation. Most of the companies that we're talking to, they have public transportation allowance, for example, here in Berlin, the BVG monthly ticket. They have sometimes a bike leasing program, but they never have an all-in-one solution, and that's exactly what a mobility budget is about. Let's try to understand the why behind it. So we have a reason to be here, and this is the why behind it. The workforce is changing a lot. Once again, I will analyze a little bit what's happening, and this is a huge problem. This is the first challenge, and you probably are facing that in your companies. The shortage of employees is here to stay. This is just the trend for it to continue to grow. It will reach 13.5 million by 2030, which is just around the corner. Of course, that's why culture needs to be amazing, hiring strategy needs to be amazing, and also a strong benefit package needs to be amazing. Actually, yesterday I was talking to a group of people here regarding how difficult it is to hire tech people nowadays, and it will be more difficult even with the layoffs. And I was thinking about my friends. I have a lot of friends that are in tech companies and are in tech departments, that they don't, of course, they care about their salary, but they know that they're going to have a good salary anywhere that they go. And I always see them looking at their benefits, especially if they are tech benefits, if it's an app. It could be a Netflix. It could be, of course, urban sports for exercising. You have a bunch of tech benefits that you can provide to your employees. They will share with each other, with their tech friends. They will probably influentiate each other to come to this type of companies that have more cool benefits and interesting benefits that they can really use in their daily lives. They can really see that gift every month from their employer. Another challenge regarding the workforce, so 27% of it will become Gen Z by 2025. So that's why, of course, we are talking about so much the Generation Z regarding tech benefits. They are the ones that are using it more, the ones that are requesting it more as well. So, of course, if you are thinking a strategy for benefits, don't exclude this big portion of people already that will be in the Gen Z, that will be in the workforce by 2025. Okay, so let's talk about money now. So there are a lot of people, a lot of companies that throw money at problems when they see their employees are not happy, nor not engaging, when they see they're having trouble hiring, for example. And of course, when it comes to a budget efficiency, that can be very problematic. And what we're trying to bring here with these innovative benefits is for you to be more creative. People need to be more creative when tackling people's problems. And I will give you an example. If you have 100 euros more in your salary, of course, you'll be happy, who wouldn't? But I think 4 to 6 months from now, you will probably not have any emotional relationship with these 100 euros more in your salary. You'll probably forget it quite easily. So if you have the same 100 euros in a very good benefit that you use every day, that it really impacts your life, your daily life or weekly life, you will think about your employer often. You will feel good about it. I can give you my experience, of course. I have multiple benefits at FreeNow. I use our mobility budget at FreeNow as well. And I always feel very good, because of course I love free stuff. And I always feel very good when I'm using it. I always think about, oh, I'm lucky to have this benefit. It really creates the emotional relationship between me and my employer. That's why benefits are important. Otherwise, of course, they wouldn't exist, and money would be everything that you would need to tackle the talent problem. So This is important for us to understand. This is a good challenge. It's sustainability. This is the first priority, not only for the Gen Z, but also for millennials. I'm a millennial, so I can confirm that. I'm also almost Gen Z, by the way. So we say that we want to be green. We want to be very green as much as possible. But we also want our companies to be green. We also want our companies to be creative when thinking about the environment, our problems, as well as people in their teams. That's why we want, the first priority here is benefits that are sustainable. And there's a list with the top 3 benefits. It's in a study that I can share with you. The top 3 benefits that are sustainable, that are most wanted by employees are some kind of help to buy an electric car, public transportation allowance, and cycle to work scheme. So you can see that the main benefits that are green are all related to mobility, are related to transportation. So it's very easy to connect sustainability with mobility. So of course, if you are providing to your employees a good sustainable benefit, a good sustainable mobility benefit, you are of course giving a message, providing a message for them to be greener, and they will feel very good about it. Your employer branding will be very strong when it comes to the sustainable part that you want to pass the message. The Gen Z, once again, they are very tech-savvy. They are jumping from app to app all the time. They have their private life with all the tech that they want. They have their work life probably with all the tech and usability that they want as well. And of course, they will need that in their benefit life as well. There are benefits that are very difficult to use. I'm not sure if you measure how many people use the benefits in your teams, but we have examples. For example, a gym membership can be used by 40% of the employees, whilst mobility budget is used by 80% of the employees. So those tech benefits can really make the difference, and Gen Z will not look for another type of benefits that are not tech. Probably they will not use it. So let's try to understand how a mobility budget can really speak to today's candidates. In our survey, we did this question. We made this question. What are the main benefits of integrating a solution like the mobility budget in your strategy? The first answer was how flexible it would be for the employees, the employee satisfaction, of course, optimization of mobility costs, especially those companies that still have fleet, and meeting CSR targets, and increased flexibility for the company as well. Let's deep dive on the main one. So flexibility, it's quite easy to understand. Nowadays, I will probably not use my car every day, even though that I have one. I don't want to use it every day. I will probably need to diversify a bit. I don't want to use a public transportation system every day, only if I need to. But the way that we are tending to diversify the way that we move is very important. So for example, I will use a taxi to go meet a client. I will use a scooter to go to lunch here around the corner with some friends. And for example, for the weekend, I will use car sharing with my family. This is all about the flexibility that it's the first answer here in this survey when it comes to the employee side. And of course, a lot of flexibility can really provide a lot of happiness as well. Benefits are really good to boost your happiness scores. And this is the way that we can do it. And of course, you will have really an easier time to attract and retain your talent if you increase your happiness like this with a good benefit, for example. Once again, regarding sustainability. But not only for the employee. So we know that the employee will use the app, will use the sustainable benefit, but also for you with your CSR targets. We know that a lot of companies are having very, very aggressive CSR targets nowadays, and the adoption of solutions that are majority green, that can be really good for you to meet way faster your CSR targets. And we are facing a lot of companies that are wanting to implement something like a mobility budget so they can jump a bit to meet their CSR targets. There was one last question in our survey. So we asked if people are considering offering a mobility plan to all employees or some of employees. We can see that 37% answered all employees, 31% only the ones eligible for a company car, and 32% they didn't choose yet. It's fair, they have time. So we can see from here that seniority, for example, a company car is only for the seniority levels, more senior levels, which cannot, of course, give you a lot of equity when you're trying to implement an inclusive benefit for all of your team. Of course, mainly because of the costs. A car is very costly, so you will not give it to anyone. But when it comes to the mobility budget, you can really make it more inclusive because you have the option even to tailor it. So you can tailor levels of investment depending on your seniority, but still you are making everyone happy, you are providing a good solution to everyone, and it's a way more inclusive benefit than the traditional ones. So thank you so much for listening. This is the study that I just presented. You can just point off your phones here and download it immediately, if you want, of course. It's the complete study. Right next, after the lunch, we will have a demo with my colleague Victor, so you can see our product in action, so you can see how it really works. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Daniela. Are there any questions for Daniela? As she said, you can also go to their booth, but there is a question.
Hi, thank you for presentation. I have a question regarding mobility budget, let's say in figures or in percentage. How big is it, let's say, maybe from survey or so from some hints according, what's the share comparing to total salary or total, let's say, budget for or expenses for employee?
Yeah.
Is there some rule of thumb or, I don't know?
There are no rules. We have, in our case, in our product, we have a bit of everything. It really depends even on the taxation of different countries. For example, here in Germany, we have the 50 euro tax-free benefit allowance that you can give for any type of benefits. And most of the companies that we are talking to, they're going to implement the benefit budget with exactly 50 euro tax-free, for example. But we have other cases. If you want to substitute a company car, you are entitled to a big value. We have some consulting firms that are working with us. They are giving 500 euros in mobility budget per month to substitute the company car, for example. But it's up to you to choose. Of course, we can give you our best practices, but there's no rule for minimums or maximums. And that's it.
Thank you.
Hi, you mentioned that Gen Z would forego salary for additional benefits. So how high is mobility when it comes to the additional benefits that Gen Z would prefer?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm not sure if I understood.
So out of all the benefits that Gen Z would prefer, do you have any idea how high mobility is when it comes to the benefits that matter to them most?
In the rank?
Yeah.
So we are finding multiple studies, a little bit different, but it's always in the top 5, at least, that I've seen. As I was saying, it's the essential things that people are looking, the things that they are using actually every day. So top 5, I would say, for Gen Z. A bit more maybe for the other generations. Welcome. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you so much, then. Have a great lunchtime.